The Juice, From Glory to Infamy, the O.J. Simpson Story. July 9, 1947. Potrero Hill, San Francisco. The cramped housing projects on the edge of the city. Eunice Simpson held her newborn son, his legs already twisted inward from rickets, a disease caused by vitamin D deficiency. The boy would need braces. Homemade braces, because surgery wasn't an option for a hospital administrator raising 4 children alone. His aunt named him Orenthal, supposedly after a French actor she admired. From birth, everyone called him OJ. He wouldn't learn his given name until a third-grade teacher read it aloud from the attendance sheet. The boy they'd soon mock as Pencil Pins, because of his stick-thin, bowed legs, would one day run faster than almost anyone in America. But first, he'd have to learn to walk. By age 5, the braces came off. James Lee Simpson, OJ's father, a chef and bank custodian, had already left the family. Years later, OJ would learn his father was gay, a drag queen performer in San Francisco's Bay Area. Jimmy Simpson would die of AIDS in 1986, but by then, his son had become something his father never imagined, an American icon. Young Orenthal found the streets. At 13, he joined the Persian Warriors, a San Francisco street gang. By 15, he'd been arrested for fighting, confined briefly to the San Francisco Youth Guidance Center. The path seemed clear: poverty, violence, prison. The same trajectory that trapped countless young black men in 1960s America. Then came football. At Galileo High School, Simpson discovered what his damaged legs could do once they healed. Speed. Explosive, mesmerizing speed. He and his teammate Al Cowlings became the city's star players, named to the all-city team. But Simpson's grades were terrible. No major university would touch him. So he went to City College of San Francisco. 2 years, 54 touchdowns, an average of 9.3 yards per carry, numbers that made college scouts forget about his academic record. 50 universities came calling. Simpson chose the University of Southern California. On June 24, 1967, Simpson married his high school sweetheart, Marguerite Whitley. He was 20, already on his way to becoming something larger than life. The Trojan. September 1967. The Los Angeles Coliseum. Simpson's first game in cardinal and gold. USC's head coach John McKay had a simple philosophy: give OJ the ball. Simpson led the nation in rushing that year with 1,543 yards and 13 touchdowns. USC went 10-1 and won the national championship. In the 1968 Rose Bowl against Indiana, Simpson scored both touchdowns in a 14-3 victory. But it was the UCLA game in November 1967 that made him immortal. Fourth quarter, USC trailing 2014 with under 11 minutes left, 3rd and 7 on their own 36-yard line. Backup quarterback Toby Page called an audible. The ball went to Simpson. 64 yards, 1 run, through the entire UCLA defense. Touchdown. The extra point gave USC the lead, 21-20. Final score. Sports Illustrated put Simpson on the cover. National magazines published frame-by-frame photos of the run. McKay's genius was simple: the ball ain't that heavy. Simpson's 1968 season was statistically perfect: 1,709 yards rushing, 22 touchdowns, an NCAA record 334 carries. He won the Heisman Trophy by 1,750 points, the largest margin in history, a record that would stand for 51 years. When the Downtown Athletic Club presented Simpson with the Heisman on December 4, 1968, they also gave USC a duplicate trophy. Both would later become objects of obsession, theft, and controversy. The Electric Company. January 1969. The Buffalo Bills held the first overall pick in the NFL draft after finishing 112-1. They took Simpson. He demanded the largest contract in professional sports history, $650,000 over 5 years. Owner Ralph Wilson balked. Simpson threatened to become an actor and skip football entirely. Wilson paid. For 3 years, Simpson struggled. Poor offensive line, terrible teams. He never rushed for more than 800 yards in a season. The Bills were wasting the greatest talent they'd ever drafted. Then came Lou Saban. The new head coach arrived in 1972 with a revolutionary idea. Build everything around O.J. the offensive line. Reggie McKenzie, Dave Foley, Mike Montler, Joe DeLamielleure, Paul Seymour became known as the Electric Company because they turned on the juice. 1972, 1,251 rushing yards, NFL rushing champion. 1973, the impossible. December 16, 1973, Shea Stadium. The Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. Simpson entered the game with 1,803 rushing yards. He needed 200 to break Jim Brown's single-season record of 1,863 yards. He needed 197 to reach 2,000 yards, a number no one believed possible. The Bills won 34-14. Simpson gained 200 yards. Final total, 2,003 yards in 14 games. The record still stands as the fastest to 2,000 yards because the NFL expanded to 16 games in 1978. 7 other running backs have reached 2,000 yards since. All needed 16 games. Simpson did it in 14. He remains the only player to rush for 1,000 yards in the first 7 games of a season twice, 1973 and 1975. His 143.1 yards per game average in 1973 is still an NFL record. The league named him MVP, Sports Illustrated's Athlete of the Year. He was elected to 6 Pro Bowls and 5 consecutive All-Pro teams from 1972 to 1976. In 5 seasons, Simpson averaged 1,540 rushing yards per year with a 5.1 yards per carry average. By the time he retired in 1979, after 2 injury-plagued seasons with the San Francisco 49ers, Simpson had rushed for 11,236 yards and scored 76 touchdowns. He was the second leading rusher in NFL history. In 1985, his first year of eligibility, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But football was never enough for O.J. Simpson. He wanted something more. He wanted America to love him. The crossover. 1968. Even before playing professional football, Simpson appeared in uncredited roles on Dragnet and Ironside. By 1974, he was starring in feature films alongside Richard Burton and Lee Marvin in The Klansman, and with Paul Newman and Steve McQueen in the disaster epic, The Towering Inferno. He avoided blaxploitation films, the dominant genre for black actors in the 1970s. Simpson studied white stars like Burton and Marvin, learning their mannerisms. He told reporters he wanted to tear down that picture of O.J. as just a nice guy. Simpson appeared in Capricorn 1, The Cassandra Crossing, and Roots, the groundbreaking 1977 miniseries about slavery. In 1978, he became only the second professional athlete to host Saturday Night Live, appearing in skits dressed as a conehead and as John Belushi's brother in a samurai routine. But it was Hertz that made O.J. Simpson a household name. 1975. The car rental company wanted a spokesperson who embodied speed and efficiency. They chose Simpson and created a campaign showing him sprinting through airports in a 3-piece suit, leaping over luggage, hurdling barriers, never breaking a sweat. Children yelled, "Go, O.J., go!" Hertz's annual profit increased 50% to $42.2 million in the first year. Brand awareness jumped over 40%. Simpson's recognition rate went from 30% to 90%. By the late 1980s, Simpson was making over $550,000 annually from Hertz alone, more than he'd ever made playing football. In 1975, People magazine called Simpson the first black athlete to become a bona fide lovable media superstar. Sports writer Ralph Wiley wrote that white people considered Simpson a unifying symbol of all races. History professor Lou Moore said Simpson was the first black athlete to be put on by mainstream white America. Simpson became an NBC sports commentator, working Monday Night Football from 1983 to 1985 and various other broadcasts. By 1988, he'd landed his most famous role, Detective Nordberg in The Naked Gun, from the files of Police Squad. The slapstick comedy trilogy, starring Simpson alongside Leslie Nielsen, became a massive hit. Simpson played the bumbling, accident-prone Nordberg in all three films, 1988, 1991, and 1994. The third film was released the same year as the murders. By the early 1990s, O.J. Simpson had achieved something rare for a black man in America. He transcended race. He lived in Brentwood, one of Los Angeles' most exclusive neighborhoods. He golfed at country clubs. He appeared in commercials selling products to middle America. He was, by all accounts, safe, acceptable, non-threatening. Behind closed doors, the reality was different. The marriage. Nicole Brown was 18 years old, working as a waitress at a Beverly Hills nightclub called the Daisy in 1977 when she met O.J. Simpson. He was 30, married to Marguerite with 3 children. Nicole was blonde, beautiful, and completely mesmerized by Simpson's fame. They began an affair while Simpson was still married. In 1979, tragedy struck. Simpson's youngest daughter from his first marriage, Aaron Lashon, drowned in the family swimming pool 1 month before her second birthday. The marriage collapsed. Simpson and Marguerite divorced that same year. Simpson moved Nicole into his Rockingham estate in Brentwood. On February 2, 1985, they married. Their daughter Sydney was born 7 months later. Their son Justin was born in 1988. From the outside, it looked perfect. The football legend and his beautiful wife, living the American dream. Friends and family knew otherwise. Simpson was controlling, jealous, and violent. Nicole told friends he spied on her, followed her, accused her of cheating. In 1989, at 3:00 a.m. on New Year's Day, Nicole called 911, terrified and crying. Police arrived to find her hiding in bushes, wearing only a bra and sweatpants, her face bruised and bloodied. "He's going to kill me," she screamed when officers arrived. Simpson told police they'd been wrestling. He pleaded no contest to spousal abuse, received 2 years probation, 120 hours of community service, and a $700 fine. Nicole told a friend the legal system had failed her. The abuse continued. Nicole documented beatings in her diary. She told her therapist Simpson would kill her one day. Friends urged her to leave. Finally, in February 1992, Nicole filed for divorce. But Simpson wouldn't let go. They tried to reconcile multiple times. Simpson would be charming, apologetic, promising change. Then the cycle would repeat: jealousy, accusations, violence. Nicole confided to friends that Simpson stalked her, showed up unannounced, went through her trash looking for evidence of other men. On June 8, 1994, a woman named Nicole called a women's shelter called Sojourn House. She was considering staying there because she was afraid of what Simpson might do. She drafted a will. She told friends Simpson had threatened to kill her if he ever found her with another man. 4 days later, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were murdered. The murders. June 12, 1994, evening. Nicole Brown Simpson and O.J. both attended their daughter Sydney's dance recital at Paul Revere Middle School. Afterward, Nicole and her family went to dinner at Mezzaluna, an Italian restaurant in Brentwood. One of the waiters was Ron Goldman, a 25-year-old aspiring actor and model who'd become friends with Nicole in recent weeks. Nicole's mother, Juditha, accidentally left her glasses at the restaurant. Around 9:15 p.m., Nicole's sister called Metzaluna. Ron Goldman volunteered to drop off the glasses on his way home. Sometime after 10:00 p.m., in the narrow walkway between Nicole's front gate and front door at 875 South Bundy Drive, someone attacked them. Nicole Brown Simpson was stabbed 12 times. The final wound nearly decapitated her, severing her carotid artery. Ron Goldman was stabbed approximately 20 times. He fought back. He had defensive wounds on his hands. The glasses were still clutched in his grip when police found him. The medical examiner estimated the entire attack lasted less than 5 minutes. At 12:10 a.m. on June 13th, a neighbor's dog led its owner to the scene. Police arrived minutes later. O.J. Simpson was in Chicago. He'd taken a red-eye flight from LAX at 11:45 p.m., scheduled to meet with Hertz representatives for a golf outing. Limousine driver Alan Park had arrived at Simpson's Rockingham estate around 10:25 p.m. to take him to the airport. Park later testified he couldn't reach Simpson by intercom and saw no one home until around 10:55 p.m., when he observed a large black man, approximately 200 pounds and 6 feet tall, walking quickly across the driveway toward the house. Detective Philip Vanatter called Simpson at his Chicago hotel around 6:00 a.m. to inform him of Nicole's death. Vanatter later testified that Simpson sounded very upset, but was oddly unconcerned about the circumstances. Simpson only asked whether the children had seen the murder or Nicole's body, but didn't ask how she died or whether the assailant had harmed the children. Simpson caught the next flight home. When detectives arrived at Simpson's Rockingham estate at 5:00 a.m., they noticed blood on his white Ford Bronco parked outside. Detective Mark Fuhrman discovered a bloody right-hand glove near the guest house, matching the left-hand glove found next to Ron Goldman's body. Blood was found in Simpson's driveway, in his foyer, in his bedroom, on socks in his bedroom, and in his Bronco. On June 17, 1994, Simpson was formally charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was ordered to surrender to police at 11:00 a.m. at Parker Center. He didn't show up. The chase. June 17, 1994. 2:00 p.m. Robert Kardashian, Simpson's friend and attorney, read a letter Simpson had written to the press. It sounded like a suicide note. "Don't feel sorry for me," Simpson wrote. "I've had a great life. Great friends. Please think of the real O.J. and not this lost person." At 5:00 p.m., Simpson's attorney Robert Shapiro called a press conference. LAPD Commander David Gaskin announced, "Mr. Simpson is a fugitive of justice right now." 95 million Americans turned on their televisions. At 6:20 p.m., a motorist spotted Simpson in his white Ford Bronco on Interstate 5, heading south. His childhood friend Al Cowlings was driving. Police gave chase. It wasn't really a chase. Cowlings drove at 35 miles per hour. Simpson sat in the back seat with a gun to his own head. 20 police cars followed at a distance. Helicopters circled overhead broadcasting live. People lined freeway overpasses holding signs. "Go, O.J., go," the same words from the Hertz commercials. The chase lasted 2 hours and covered 60 miles. At 8:00 p.m., Cowlings pulled into the driveway at Simpson's Rockingham estate. Officers surrounded the vehicle. Simpson refused to exit. For another hour, police negotiated. At 8:51 p.m., Simpson finally surrendered. Police found his passport, a disguise, and $8,750 in cash in the Bronco. The world waited for the trial. The trial of the century. January 24, 1995. Los Angeles Superior Court, Judge Lance Ito presiding. The prosecution team, led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden, presented what they believed was overwhelming evidence. DNA testing showed blood at the crime scene matched Simpson. Blood in Simpson's Bronco and home matched the victims. The glove at Simpson's home matched the glove at the crime scene. Both gloves contained hair consistent with Simpson and the victims. Bruno Magli's shoes, size 12 Simpson size, left bloody prints at the scene. Only 299 pairs in that size were ever sold in the United States. One pair was purchased at the same store where Simpson bought shoes. Simpson had a history of domestic violence. Nicole's 1989 911 call was played for the jury. Witnesses testified about seeing bruises on Nicole. Her diary entries described beatings and death threats. But the prosecution made critical mistakes. They asked Simpson to try on the glove found at his home in court. June 15, 1995. Simpson stood before the jury wearing latex gloves under the leather glove. He struggled, grimaced, held up his hands. "The glove doesn't fit," defense attorney Johnny Cochran said, creating the trial's most famous moment. The defense, Simpson's so-called dream team, Cochran, Robert Shapiro, F. Lee Bailey, Alan Dershowitz, Robert Kardashian, and others, had a simple strategy: make the trial about race. They portrayed the LAPD as racist and incompetent. They suggested evidence had been planted. They focused relentlessly on Detective Mark Fuhrman, who discovered the glove at Simpson's house. Audio tapes emerged of Fuhrman using racial slurs repeatedly. When called back to testify, Fuhrman invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination 41 times, including when asked if he'd planted evidence. In his closing argument, Cochran compared Fuhrman to Adolf Hitler. He told the jury, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." The trial lasted 133 days. It featured 72 witnesses, 857 exhibits, and 133 hours of television coverage. The entire nation stopped to watch. October 2, 1995. After 9 months of trial, the jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. October 3, 1995. 10:00 a.m. Pacific Time. 91% of all people watching television in America tuned in. 142 million people watched. President Clinton waited to give a speech. Trading on the New York Stock Exchange slowed. Long-distance phone call volume dropped by 58%. The clerk read the verdict. "Not guilty, not guilty." Simpson showed no emotion. His defense team embraced him. Prosecutor Marcia Clark stood frozen. Outside the courthouse, the reaction split along racial lines. Many African Americans celebrated, seeing the verdict as a rebuke of a racist legal system. Many white Americans were outraged, convinced Simpson had gotten away with murder. Ron Goldman's father, Fred Goldman, sat in the courtroom and wept. 2 years later, Fred Goldman, Sharon Rufo, Ron's mother, and Lou Brown, Nicole's father, filed a civil lawsuit against Simpson for wrongful death. The burden of proof was lower, not beyond a reasonable doubt, but preponderance of the evidence. February 4, 1997. The civil jury unanimously found Simpson liable for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. They awarded the families $33.5 million in damages. Simpson never paid most of it. His NFL pension was protected. He moved assets, claimed bankruptcy, and fought the judgment for the rest of his life. By the time he died, the judgment with interest had grown to over $100 million. Simpson was acquitted in criminal court, but America had made up its mind. The confession that wasn't. November 2006. News Corporation and publisher Judith Regan announced a bombshell. O.J. Simpson had written a book titled If I Did It, Confessions of the Killer. In the book and an accompanying Fox television special, Simpson would describe, hypothetically, how he would have committed the murders. Public outrage was immediate and overwhelming. The Goldman family called it blood money. Victims' advocates accused Simpson of profiting from murder. Fox and News Corporation canceled the book and TV special. But a court later awarded the book's rights to the Goldman family to help satisfy the wrongful death judgment. They republished it in 2007 with a new subtitle, Confessions of the Killer. On the cover, "If I Did It" appeared in tiny letters, while "I Did It" appeared enormous. In the book, Simpson describes going to Nicole's condo with a man named Charlie, a fictional character. He describes Nicole opening the door, seeing Ron Goldman there, becoming enraged. He describes a fog descending, a knife in his hand, blood everywhere. "If I actually did it," Simpson wrote, "here's how it happened." Simpson's former agent, Mike Gilbert, later claimed that Simpson confessed to him in 2008. According to Gilbert, Simpson, high on marijuana and beer after taking a sleeping pill, mumbled, "If she hadn't opened the door with a knife in her hand." Simpson never admitted to the murders. He maintained his innocence until his death. Las Vegas, September 13, 2007. Palace Station Hotel and Casino, Las Vegas. Simpson was in town for a friend's wedding. He'd learned that two sports memorabilia dealers, Bruce Frommong and Alfred Beardsley, were selling items Simpson claimed had been stolen from him. Simpson wanted them back. At approximately 7:00 p.m., Simpson led a group of 5 men into room 1203. 2 of the men carried guns. Simpson had organized this. He'd asked them to bring heat. "Nobody leave this room," Simpson ordered. For the next several minutes, Simpson and his accomplices took photographs, footballs, and other memorabilia. Frommong and Beardsley later testified the group broke into the room and stole items at gunpoint. Simpson claimed he was just retrieving his own property. 3 days later, on September 16th, Simpson was arrested and charged with multiple felonies: armed robbery, kidnapping, assault, burglary, and conspiracy. The trial began in September 2008. 4 of Simpson's accomplices had accepted plea deals and testified against him. The crucial evidence was hours of audio recordings that captured the planning, execution, and aftermath of the incident. October 3, 2008. Exactly 13 years to the day after his acquittal in the murder trial. The jury found Simpson guilty on all 12 counts. December 5, 2008. Judge Jackie Glass sentenced Simpson to 33 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 9 years. As she prepared to sentence him, Glass said, "Earlier in this case, at a bail hearing, I said to Mr. Simpson, I didn't know if he was arrogant or ignorant or both. And during the trial and through this proceeding, I got the answer, and it was both." Simpson served his sentence at Lovelock Correctional Center in Nevada, inmate number 1,027,820. He was a model prisoner. In July 2017, the parole board granted him early release. On October 1, 2017, at age 70, Simpson walked out of prison. He moved to Las Vegas. He played golf. He posted videos on Twitter sharing opinions about football, politics, and current events. He denied being in poor health. He insisted everything was fine. Everything was not fine. The end. May 2023. Simpson posted a video on X, formerly Twitter. "In recent years, really recent years, I unfortunately caught cancer," he said. "So I had to do the whole chemo thing. It looks like I beat it. I'm happy about that." He didn't specify what kind of cancer. Later, reports revealed it was prostate cancer, one of the most common and treatable cancers in men when caught early. But Simpson's cancer had metastasized. It had spread. February 2024. Reports circulated that Simpson was in hospice care undergoing chemotherapy. Simpson posted another video denying it. "Hospice, hospice. You talking about hospice," he said with a laugh. "No, I'm not in any hospice. I don't know who started that." He looked frail in the video. He was using a cane. "My health is good," he insisted. "Obviously, I'm dealing with some issues, but I think I'm just about over it. I'll be back on that golf course in a couple of weeks." Hours before Super Bowl LVII on February 11, 2024, Simpson posted his final video. He offered predictions about the game. He looked tired but cheerful. It would be the last time the public saw him alive. In late March or early April, Simpson entered hospice care. He died surrounded by family on April 10, 2024, at his home in Las Vegas. On April 10th, our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer, his family announced. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. During this time of transition, his family asks that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace. Simpson was 76 years old. According to his attorney, Malcolm Lavergne, Simpson's last words were not a confession. He didn't talk about Nicole. He didn't talk about Ron Goldman. He asked for water. He wanted to watch golf. Lavergne also revealed that in Simpson's final days, medical centers called asking for Simpson's brain to study chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. The attorney gave a hard no. "That is not happening," Lavergne said. Simpson's body was cremated. His entire body, his brain, his fake hips, his fake knees, everything. All the evidence, all the secrets reduced to ash. The legacy. The reaction to Simpson's death was immediate and divided. The NFL issued no official statement but posted a video tribute highlighting his football career. The Pro Football Hall of Fame lowered its flags to half-staff. The Heisman Trophy Trust offered condolences. The Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers, and USC remained silent. Fred Goldman, Ron Goldman's father, told reporters, "It's no great loss to the world. It's a further reminder of Ron being gone." Simpson's attorney announced that the Goldman family would continue pursuing the wrongful death judgment. Simpson died owing more than $100 million. He died without penance, the Goldman's attorney said. He did not want to give a dime, never. David Zucker, director of the Naked Gun films, posted on Instagram. "His acting was a lot like his murdering. He got away with it, but no one believed him." Sports analyst Stephen A. Smith said, "One of the greatest athletes we have ever seen, but it all pales in comparison to him being perceived as a double murderer." O.J. Simpson's life was a uniquely American story. Born in poverty with rickets, he willed himself to greatness through sheer determination and extraordinary athletic ability. He broke records that still stand. He crossed racial barriers that seemed impossible in the 1970s. He made America love him. And then he threw it all away. Whether you believe Simpson murdered Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, or that he was framed by racist cops, the verdict of history is clear. A woman who feared for her life and the friend who tried to save her died brutally. Their children grew up without them. Their families were destroyed. Simpson's children, Arnell, Jason, Sydney, and Justin, lived in the shadow of these murders their entire lives. Sydney was 8 years old and Justin was 5 when their mother was killed, and their father became the prime suspect. Simpson once had everything: fame, fortune, respect, love. He was the juice. Kids chased him through airports. Millions of Americans invited him into their living rooms every Monday night. He represented possibility, proof that talent and charisma could overcome any obstacle in America. In the end, he became a cautionary tale. The price of arrogance, violence, and refusing to be accountable. The danger of celebrity worship. The racial divide that still splits America. The imperfect justice system that can acquit the guilty and convict the innocent. At USC's Heritage Hall, O.J. Simpson's Heisman Trophy was stolen in 1994 during the murder trial. It disappeared for 20 years before being anonymously returned. Simpson's personal Heisman was auctioned to pay the civil judgment. It sold for $255,000 and now sits in a private collection, likely never to be seen again. 2 Heisman trophies, one stolen, one sold, both tainted, both reminders of glory turned to shame. In Lovelock, Nevada, at the correctional center where Simpson served 9 years, his prison records remain. Inmate 1,027,820. Good behavior, model prisoner, never admitted guilt. In Brentwood, Los Angeles, Nicole Brown Simpson's condo still stands at 875 South Bundy Drive. It was sold and resold, eventually demolished and rebuilt. But people still drive by slowly looking, remembering. At Forest Lawn Cemetery in Los Angeles, Nicole Brown Simpson is buried near her home. Her headstone reads, Nicole Brown Simpson, 1950-91994, loving daughter, mother, and friend. Ron Goldman is buried at Pierce Brothers Valley Oaks Memorial Park in Westlake Village. Visitors leave flowers, notes, and tokens every year. They are remembered. They will always be remembered. O.J. Simpson was cremated. His ashes were scattered privately. There is no grave, no marker, no place for fans to visit. He left behind no physical legacy beyond statistics in record books and videos on the internet. And a question that will never be answered. Did he do it? The criminal jury said no. The civil jury said yes. The DNA evidence said yes. The glove said maybe not. America remains split. But Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman are still dead. And O.J. Simpson, the Juice, the Heisman winner, the Hall of Famer, the actor, the pitchman, the man who had everything and lost it all, is gone. His life spanned 76 years. Ricketts to stardom, the projects to Brentwood, glory to infamy, hero to villain, icon to criminal. He once told an interviewer, "I'm not black, I'm O.J." In the end, he was neither. He was just a man who could run very fast, make America laugh, and possibly murder 2 people in cold blood. The jury has delivered its verdict. History will deliver its own. July 9, 1947 to April 10, 2024. Orenthal James Simpson, the Juice, one of the greatest running backs in football history, one of the most controversial figures in American culture, a man whose athletic achievements were forever overshadowed by a crime he may or may not have committed. He lived, he ran, he conquered, he fell. And now, like everyone, he is gone.